In the closing minute, Colorado's Rene Robert blasted a shot at the head of former Olympic goaltender Jim Craig. Craig went after Robert behind the net, and the brawl was on. The Rockies' Ron Delorme tried to stop Craig. He was flattened by a charge from the Bruins' Brad Park. Delorme suffering a shoulder separation. Both benches then emptied, and the fights began all over the ice. Boston's interim coach, Gary Doak, was doused with a beer, had to be restrained from going into the stands. Eventually, Craig, who had started it all, was pummeled by the Rockies' backup goalie, Al Smith. In all, 64 penalties were handed out in the game, totaling 287 minutes. There were 15 misconduct penalties, with 7 players, 5 of them Bruins, being thrown out of the game. Mike Nolan, Denver.
Beating Kaarela. Then Robert, a shot off Craig, who apparently thought Robert was shooting at his head. He goes after Robert, and watch Delorme and watch Brad Park come sailing in, hits Delorme, who suffered a separated shoulder. He'll be out at least 2 weeks, and then it went up for grabs at McNichols Arena. Both benches empty. That's Gary Doak, the coach, trying to get over the boards. Peter McNabb trying to restrain him as a fan poured beer on Doak. Now Gary Smith, backup goalie last night, comes off the bench, battling, and afterwards we got comments from Billy MacMillan.
It's unfortunate. You've got a 4-1 lead in the game, but those things do happen, and I'm very disappointed with the way things did happen. I thought they initiated the fights at the end, and it's kind of a tough way to lose.
Any word on Ron Delorme?
Well, yes, that's the most upsetting thing of all. In the little scuffle behind the net there, Park ran at him and from about 20 feet, and he's out with a separated shoulder right now, so that's a big loss to our hockey club.
And afterwards, the Bruin players and management, escorted by police to the cabs as 50 to 100 spectators heckled them. Kind of an ugly scene at McNichols Arena last night. 64 penalties, 287 minutes in penalties, 208 in the third period. 7 players tossed out, and there were 15 misconduct penalties in that game last night. And cameraman Craig Shearer and Jim Berger.
Pretty good clearing brawl between the Colorado Rockies and the Boston Bruins the other night. A total of 36 players from both teams have received fines totaling $3,500 for Saturday night's fight. The NHL said the Bruins were fined $1,800 and the Rockies $1,700. An additional $1,000 fine was levied against Boston because center Steve Casper was the first player off the bench to join in the brawl. Casper was also suspended for 3 days, and the league says it will continue its investigation into that incident. It's been kind of a busy day at the NHL headquarters today. The league has also suspended Bobby Schmatz of the Vancouver Canucks.
Particularly against Jim Craig for that two-hander he just took at Rene Robert. And watch right there, Brad Park, he's another one who should get some suspension, you would think, for that charge into Ron Delorme. Delorme, by the way, suffered a shoulder separation, and the process will be lost to the Rockies for at least 3 weeks. The league has to do something, that is certain, so we will see just how much they want to crack down on this sort of insanity. As even the goaltenders get into the act and finally pummel each other into submission. That's the kind of game it was out in Denver Saturday night, so the league will have to take some action. They pride themselves on the fact this was the first bench-clearing brawl in the league this year. There shouldn't be any as far as...
Reminded me of Rodney Dangerfield's line. I went to the Friday night fights and a hockey game broke out. This third period bench clear was sparked by goaltender Jim Craig, and interim coach Gary Doak of Boston tried to climb the glass to get to the fans. I think he was fortunate that he was restrained. In all, 7 players were ejected. 287 minutes worth of penalties were assessed. Boston's coach and their general manager have to meet with league officials on tomorrow. That should be very interesting to see exactly what kind of fines come out of that brawl there in Colorado. Hockey's got it.
Was given credit for turning the Bruins season around when in a game against Colorado, he brought the Bruins out of their docilness by taking exception to a Rene Robert shot in a game already lost and brought back the competitive fires that were missing. After this game, the Bruins would turn it around in the 1980-81 season. But for Craig, things were looking down. He would have yet another game against the Buffalo season around when in a game against Colorado, he brought the Bruins out of their docilness by taking exception to a Rene Robert shot in a game already lost and brought back the competitive fires that were missing. After this game, the Bruins would turn it around in the 1980-81 season. But for Craig, things were looking down.